We've got Musheir El Farra on the call. How you doing, Musheir?
Hello, can you hear me this time?
I can, yeah, very good. Yeah, I think
Good,
everyone
good,
can hear
good,
you
good.
now.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Good.
Now look, what you were on last week and talking in really tragic circumstances about what's happening in Gaza. And
Yes.
I was really surprised that you were organising that you found that you're doing so much. I mean, you organised a meeting in Sheffield for
Mm.
Nelson
Well,
Mandela's grandson Mandla to speak, and this then hit the headlines because the
yes.
Home Office would not allow him in without a visa, and that hadn't been the case before when he'd come. It wasn't an issue, and then suddenly there was an issue with this. Now, he is a strong voice in support of Palestine. So, do you think that was a deliberate thing by the Home Office to block him?
Yes, I have no doubt, but they were very, very clever because they informed him 2 months ago that he's got two passports. He's got the government passport because he's a member of the parliament. And they told him that he doesn't need a visa to Britain on his passport. But last Monday afternoon, they wrote to him and said, no, if you want to go, you need a visa. So between Monday and Wednesday, when he wanted to fly to Britain, obviously there was a lot of attempts for him to get a visa, which failed. A lot of pressure from the ANC, which failed at very high level. South African government. Of course, that coincides with the Zionist pressure in places like Brighton and elsewhere, Manchester as well, because Zionists were going around saying he's anti-Semitic. Surprise, surprise, everybody's anti-Semitic. Even
Mm.
Holocaust survivors are anti-Semitic. And they started putting
I saw the social media posts. I saw the social media posts from some people who didn't want him to come,
yeah, yeah,
calling for the Home Office to stop him. So it's clear that there was pressure. It's out there on social media. You can see it. But so he was going to come and speak in Sheffield, but then he couldn't
yes,
come, and then you had to kind of arrange a way that the meeting would go ahead without him being there. Can you tell us what you did then?
absolutely, absolutely, and came beyond our expectations because we didn't think that because we had to inform people that he's not coming and that we are going to get him on Zoom, which wasn't actually guaranteed, but people turned in big numbers, and the meeting was extremely successful, extremely inspirational.
I've got a
It's
clip. I'll just play it. I'll just play a clip so people can see what it looked like.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have waged a bitter struggle against colonization. We paid a heavy price, but we remain strong in the conviction that the end of occupation is inevitable, the end of colonization is inevitable, and that justice will always prevail.
They say it's a big turnout. So
Absolutely.
do you think that they're trying to ban him actually backfired?
Well, yes, definitely in Sheffield backfired because luckily for us, technology worked. So it was really as if he was in the middle of us. And the response from the crowd, from people, was unbelievable because a man of his symbolism, first of all, he's not only the grandson of Nelson Mandela, he is a chief and he is a member of the African National Congress, member of the parliament, and a very, very committed person to all international causes for everybody who's under oppression. So for us to hear from him a simple message, which we love because we believe in it, that apartheid in South Africa has ended, apartheid in Palestine will end and must end, occupation in Palestine will end and must end, oppression of the Palestinians will end and will end and must end. It was inspirational, and the way he spoke in an internationalist way about colonization, about unity of people around the world, about the that he has no doubt at all that victory is coming to all oppressed people, and including the Palestinians. It was amazing. A great man, very modest, very nice, and very well informed. And as I said, the emotions. I personally was chairing the meeting, and I cried when he was talking because it's just amazing. And to be honest, what was really nice as well, children in shelter schools who were displaced from the north and south of the Gaza Strip, when we told them about the meeting with the Chief Zweli Velili, Mandla Mandela, boy, that's the name he likes to be called, Zweli Velili. During their artwork, which we support here from Sheffield, they drew paintings for him to say thank you for you, thank you people of South Africa, thank you people, thank you for your support. We'll never forget what your grandfather said. You stood with us when nobody stood with us. And he loved it. Of course, I had to send it to him electronically, but he loved it and sent him back a message, really, really emotional, and say, we'll never forget you, we'll campaign for you. And we have all these men, children who came from Gaza, we treated in South Africa. And our commitment to bring in those war criminals to justice is strong. So it was a real historical night. And as I said, because of technology and because of our beloved comrade Johnny Fieldman, who worked the technology, it worked perfect. So everybody
well done. Well, just check, is it possible that he can come over now? Is he going to do you know if he's able to make any of these other dates?
No, so far they're denying him the visa, and obviously the tour now.
Oh, they're denying him the visa as well.
Yeah, they're delaying. So I will be, they're saying in 15 days we'll answer you, blah, blah, until the tour is gone. But it will not go away.
I see. After the tour, so he can't get a visa till.
They put him in a category according to the Home Office. I don't understand the technicality, but that category cannot grant you the visa under that category. It has to be certain weeks or whatever. So obviously it was a tactic, which is, to be honest, it's very, very cunning and shrewd, because had he come to Heathrow and was denied entry, it would have been a PR disaster for the British government because of his symbolism, But
well,
as I said,
why don't we get him quietly over here and then just do meetings on the last minute? They won't know. They won't know when it's coming.
We could do that.
Because he could get a really big following, wouldn't he? I mean, there'd be people going. It'd be hot tickets to get to see him. Now, the other thing I want to talk to you about is because of what happened before, we had this long discussion before you that went over. Apologize for that. We've got I've got a clip of you talking, which I found very interesting. It's on Instagram. I'll just play it.
The BBC phoned me yesterday to ask me to take part in a program. On the other side, there'll be an Israeli, and the title will be How to Find Peace in Future Between the Two Sides. I find this very offensive. In the middle of what's happening to the Palestinians, the war crimes, the massacres that are taking place in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, and recently in Lebanon as well. All they care about is for them to improve the image of Israel and show the Israelis as if they are keen on having peace, rather than covering the real crime and the genocide that is taking place. I find this collusion shocking and unacceptable, and they should be ashamed of themselves. Of course, I told them where they can go.
Yeah, it's a great clip there. What do you think about the BBC in a bit more detail? I mean, is this something that
I have no faith, zero faith in the BBC because of experience. I mean, obviously they get us as tokens. If we take Palestinians, they get us as tokens. I'll talk more about my own experience. On the 11th of October, under bombing in Khan Yunis, no electricity, nothing. They phoned me, Newsnight, a program everybody loves to appear on, and I accepted as long as I put my condition that give me good time. They said, yeah, we'll give you good time. So I started 10:30, and I waited 28 minutes listening to a lie after lie, speaker, Israeli speaker after Israeli speaker, then Mark Reg, then Sibilevni. It was 2 minutes to 11 when they were just about to come to me, when luckily we lost the battery support for the internet. So they would have given me effectively 3 minutes maximum, then the local news, then the weather. And that's how they are. And then I turned them down for 8 times because unless they guarantee the time, and they wouldn't guarantee the time. All what they care about is to if you like, cover for the Israeli crimes by bringing the Palestinian voice as symbol, as a token, but giving us no room. And And we can never forget their coverage in the past, and the fact that they refer to Palestinian women when they are helping the stone throwers against Israeli occupation force, which is a legitimate act to resist occupation force, as terrorist women when they're bringing up their kids as to be hateful and terrorist women in Ukraine. And don't get me wrong, I feel for the civilians in Ukraine as much as I feel for any civilian anywhere worldwide. But those women who are helping the Ukrainian fighters are heroes of the nation, are brave and whatever. They stink, really. They do stink. And I personally, I call for the Palestinians, and I called a lot of my fellow Palestinians to boycott the BBC, and because it's a waste of time. I mean, unless they give you life and they give you good time,
Right.
it's definitely a disgrace. We remember the Gaza Appeal Fund, the Gaza Emergency Appeal about 10 years ago, when they refused to broadcast it when Gaza was being slaughtered in 2014, and then the brave Tony Benn announced it in one of his interviews on BBC. How can you stop an appeal for people who are being killed? But obviously the racism is engraved in every institution in Britain, and that's not a slogan. It's just
Right.
unbelievable.
Well, I appreciate that. I really appreciate your take on this, and I think it's very important people listen to that. Thank you so much for coming on. Look, if you get any more news about Mandela, what was his full name again?
Zweli Veleli.
All right.
Zweli Veleli Mandla Mandela. That's the African name, Zweli Veleli.
Okay.
Yeah, and by the way, yesterday we had a massive meeting in Newcastle, and I put a plug for Crispin Flintoff because they asked us about alternative
right.
media. We had
Oh,
a
right,
massive meeting with about 300 people, with Loki and Ahmed Al-Naouq and Dr. Mariam Francois. And it was really, really inspirational, in a city like Newcastle to have this number of people. It was amazing.